Hello, everyone, and welcome to my post-Oscars commentary. If you are new to this channel, welcome. Click the subscribe button below for future notifications and updates. If you watched my Oscars predictions last week, you knew how excited I was to watch the Oscars this year. Now that the award season is over, I was very disappointed in what I saw last night. I thought it was going to be one of the greatest after the I'm Just Ken performance, but the ending ruined it for me, and it became one of the worst in recent memory. I was so disappointed. I wasn't in the mood to celebrate Oppenheimer winning Best Picture of the Year. My disappointment came down to Poor Things. To give you a reminder, Oppenheimer was nominated for 13 Oscars. It won 7, and I was okay with that. Poor Things got 11 nominations. It won 4. Killers of the Flower Moon got 10 nominations. It took home 0 awards. A complete shutout. Barbie was nominated for 8 Oscars, and it took home 1 for the wrong song. A real disappointment. So when the nominations came out in January, my sister and I went to see Poor Things. And based on the history of the Oscars, I knew going into the theater that just because a movie was nominated for Oscars doesn't mean they deserve to be nominated. This was a polarizing movie, and those that did not like it, I heard some people walked out on the film. I believe in giving filmmakers a chance, so I almost stay until the end. The last time I walked out of a film, I was 11 or 12, and my mother and I saw a film we did not expect to see based on the trailer. So that was many, many years ago. I sat through Poor Things, I gave it a chance, and I did not understand why it got nominated for anything. Now, I didn't do a movie review for it, so since it is the reason why I think last night's Oscars was one of the worst, I will share my opinions here. When it comes to Poor Things, I have 2 big issues. Number 1, whoever in the Academy likes the film, I thought they chose style over substance. The movie had style, but it had no substance, which leads to my second point. It really blows my mind that people cannot differentiate between pornography and eroticism. There is thought behind eroticism. There is no thought behind pornography. That's why people do not think when they watch porn. That's why it's called adult entertainment, not art. Now, I am always ready to admit when I am wrong, because no one has the answers to every question, and no one is right all the time. So I went online to find out what I am missing here. Why do people love Poor Things so much? The comments I found were as follows. People called the film over the top, bizarre, strange, perfectly odd, hilarious, an enjoyable fairy tale. Now, there is nothing wrong with a movie that is bizarre, strange, and odd. So I didn't find my answer yet. I did not find it funny. Then there is a comment about Emma Stone. According to the quote, she has been praised for her hilariously bold and fearless sex scenes. Yes, the sex scenes were explicit, and there is nothing wrong with a film with sexually explicit scenes, as long as the audience understand why the scenes are there and what purpose they serve. So again, I did not find my answer. So I ended up coming up with another question. Since when does the Academy give out awards for a movie with pornographic scenes? Then I found out I am not the only one that doesn't get it. Let me read what I found. Quote, Mick LaSalle at the San Francisco Chronicle asserted, worst of all, it's dishonest. It purports to be a feminist document, but it defines a woman's autonomy as the ability to be exploited and not care. What version of feminism are these guys trying to sell us here? Film critic Scott Mans applauded LaSalle's post, finding the film a seriously misguided take on female empowerment, though he praised the film's ambition and production values. End quote. I got more questions. Who said Poor Things was a feminist movie? It's not. Why I say that, it goes back to the story. Willem Dafoe plays Godwin Baxter, a scientist. He recovers the dead body of a pregnant woman named Victoria. He takes Victoria's body, removes her brain, and replaces it with the brain of the unborn fetus. He brings her back to life and names her Bella Baxter. Now, he had the choice to remove the fetus and bring that back to life, but that's not what he did. So the question I have for you all is Godwin a scientist or a butcher? Next, he knows that the woman committed suicide. If he used her body for his own purposes, that means she no longer has the right to her own body. She doesn't have the right to take her own life. She doesn't have the right to die on her own terms. Then he turns around and gives this new being his last name instead of her own last name. That alone is proof that this movie is not feminist. So I was disturbed when I heard people thought that Poor Things was a feminist movie. I had to ask myself, did they change the definition of feminism and I did not know? Then there are the sex scenes. I got a question for you all as well on that. If Bella has the body of an adult, but she has the brain of a child, did every sex partner in the movie have sex with a woman or with a child? And how is that feminist? Another thing that amazes me is this movie is doing very well in the post-Me Too era. Wow. What ruined last night was Emma Stone winning the Best Actress award instead of Lily Gladstone, which leads to Killer of the Flower Moon leaving empty-handed last night. It's bad enough they didn't nominate DiCaprio, because this is not the first time the Academy snubbed Leonardo DiCaprio. Back in 1998, Titanic was nominated in 14 categories. It won 11 Oscars. And in other words, everyone got nominated except DiCaprio. This time, same thing. Killers of the Flower Moon got 10 nominations. DiCaprio got snubbed. Gladstone got robbed. Now, I'm a fan of Emma Stone. When she won her first Oscar for La La Land, I was happy. I got that movie on DVD. But what the Academy doesn't realize is this award show has been around for 95 years now. 95 years. And in its history, only one Native American has won an Oscar, which was Wes Studi. And what he got was an honorary Oscar back in 2019. I said this in my Killers of the Flower Moon review. This was a film Marlon Brando never got to see, because when he was working in Hollywood, the industry depicted Native Americans as savage barbarians. Watch the early Western films. Google it. When he protested the Oscars back in 1974, people were mad at him for a long time. So this year was the perfect chance to award a Native American an Oscar. The Academy had a solid reason. She proved herself in the film. And then, in the end, they gave the Oscar to an actress who already has one. You want to talk about feminism? Killers of the Flower Moon is feminist. She was the heart and soul of the film. And when she saw her family get murdered one by one, and she saw detectives get murdered one by one, she hopped on a train without her husband, without a brother from the Osage, and she asked the federal government in D.C. for help in solving the murders. And what happened? Jesse Plemons' character, Tom White, shows up and solves the mystery. He wouldn't have been there in Oklahoma if it wasn't for Molly. Molly didn't expect that her husband and Robert De Niro's character, Uncle Bill, was a part of the plan to kill her and her family for the birthrights and the wealth. But in the end, she won and she got the justice that she was proactively looking for. Scorsese made a feminist movie depending on the perspective you take. But people got mad that the movie was 3.5 hours long. In addition, Scorsese made a film that portrayed Native Americans in a humane and respectful way, which is something Hollywood rarely did over the past 120 years. And then finally, what really got me mad was when the Best Song Oscar did not go to I'm Just Ken. That song was a part of pop culture last year, more so than Billie Eilish's song. And it is really cruel to invite Ryan Gosling, Slash, Simu Liu, Kingsley Benadir, and a large team of backup dancers and musicians to perform the song if you know it wasn't going to win. You let Ryan go ahead with the performance because you know it would attract viewers. Shame, shame, shame. So I will stop here and say thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought of the Oscars in the comment box below. I would love to hear from you. And until then, have fun at the movies.